very good evening to all. And I hope the audience still have a little bit energy to regain it in this next session. So we would like to introduce the audience to you, and it will be very helpful, sir, if you can start with an introduction about yourself a little bit.
Good evening, everyone. Ridesh Shah. I look at the SME business as well as the listing business at BSE. So the role or the task at BSE is that for SMEs, we encourage them, we guide them, we advise them on how to raise funds to the capital markets. Well, it's not advisory per se, but we kind of advise them on the steps that they need to take if they are going to the capital markets to raise funds, and how as a regulator we can help them in their journey towards IPO and post IPO. So we'll be more than happy to discuss post the session. If there are any queries, we'll be able to take them offline as well. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ashruth. I am at the post of Assistant General Manager in Ecgc Nariman Point branch. Currently, I am handling that policy and claims vertical. And previously to this assignment, I was head of procurement and establishment. We were interacting with directly with the MSMEs in terms of procurement and assisting in that sense. And it's been more than 22 years in Ecgc. So as we have seen in previous presentations and discussions, we represent a state agency. We are 100% owned by Government of India, and it's a company under administrative control of Department of Commerce and Ministry of Commerce and Industry. And at the same time, we are in export credit insurance, where we export near about 23% of country's merchandise export. And definitely we give credit support to PSU banks also. So down the discussion, we will discuss in detail. Thank you.
Yeah, my name is Anand Chari. I used to head SME and startup almost a year back. I started my entrepreneurial journey from last year, April onwards now. So I'm still mentoring a lot of SME companies across India and mentoring some of the main board companies also, which I'm trying to get on board on the stock exchange. That is my introduction.
Thank you, panel members. So my first question is to you, Mr. Ashruth. Being into this Ecgc sector, how well do you think the MSME segment is well aware of these services? Because in last 20 years, if we have seen a lot of contractionary and expansionary policy being regulated by the government and by the central bank, how well perceived is it in the market, and how is it helping the MSME segment specifically after availing your services, specifically when we talk about the exports and the imports?
At Ecgc, as I told, it's been more than 69 years old company, and recently we have launched our ERP portal and customer specific portal, where they are reaching to us digitally, where there is no regional and territorial barrier. So they are accessing it, and we through social media presence, we have given number of help tutorials to them where they can access to us. And MSME sectors, if I say that we are giving cover to more than 8,500 exporters who are taking cover through bank for their working capital assistance, as well as 7,500 direct exporters who are taking help in terms of credit insurance policy. Out of these, majority are MSME exporters. If we see figures of economic survey, nearly 35% in manufacturing, and in 48% exports are MSMEs. So in that way, they are taking cover from us, and they are reaching, now they are reaching directly through digital portal. So we are having 50 offices across the country, and we reach out through different trade bodies, different promotional councils, through banks, through different associations, through different district industry centers. We reach to them, and we educate them how to avail the policy, because insurance penetration in the country is very low. And as it's been shown in different presentations earlier, awareness is also very low. Insurance is not seen as a cover rather than it's seen as a cost. So we try to break that barrier, and to bring in, we educate them, and we onboard them in our portal through our different digital platforms. Thank you.
So while ECGC is there, and on one hand, wherein you need the protection of yourself from any default, any creditworthiness check that needs to be in place, how frequent are the instances that you have seen where any MSME sector is not able to fulfill their covenants and the performance assurances? So basically my question is, how frequent are you seeing the defaults amongst the MSME as we compare to the other corporation or the large corporation whose risk appetite is much higher? So what relaxations you have given them when it comes to the risk coverage, the premiums, the flexibility on the timings to the MSME sector?
So in cost terms, if we see, ECGC is second cheapest across the globe in terms of premium rates. And defaults, they do occur, and as we have already discussed, disruptions are there. Currently in Middle East and Iran region, there are political as well as war disruptions are there, because of which these increased shipment costs are there, logistic costs are there. However, at the same time, as Dilip sir has shown in his presentation, there is a component issued by relief measure given by Government of India, that is resilience and logistical intervention for export facilitation relief. There are 3 different components of it, where they have taken cover of ECGC, where they have not taken cover of ECGC. It's time pertaining to a duration also, for which ECGC is providing cover. However, Government of India has declared ECGC as the nodal agency to handle this relief, and a fund of 497 crore has already been allocated for that, so that MSMEs and different exporters can take benefit of this. This relief tutorials are available on our website and as well as on social media. So whosoever wants to take benefit of these, they can refer to that and find out how we are covering. At the same time, instances are there, and claim processing, we have been in the business for more than 69 years. So we have evolved, and as you can see, last year performance, we have processed 811 crores of claim, and at 31st March 2026, we had provisioned near about 3,800 crores of claims, means 811 of processed claims, which we have already paid, at the same time provisioned for 3,800 crores of claim. It's a huge number, seeing our capital base of 4,400 crores only. So still, being an export promotion agency, we are there to assist exporters, and at the same time, we fulfill our commitment by paying the claim. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ashruth. So while we are sitting at the topic of MSME, the ultimate goal of any SME company is to get a valuation exposure into the listing and the capital market. So my next question is to you, Mr. Anand. While we look at the trajectory wherein a lot of SMEs are coming to have their valuation exits in the listing space, in the equity capital market, but still a majority of the portion still lies into the private equity mix. What suggestion you will give that when is the right window for any SME sector to actually take an exit into the capital market while not exaggerating their books when it comes to the valuation? Because valuation will being the central point of any company who is going for the listing. And there has been so many unorganized professionals in the market that we have seen who gives an exaggerated n number of valuation games, which ultimately gets down to the market cap being so in the declining situation when we talk about the SME companies. While everybody is looking after to take an exit, what should be the right time for any SME company to take the exit and come up with the IPO?
Come after that.
Come up with the IPO.
Okay. See, timing is very not important. Actually, the company is matured, they have a very good business model, and the fundamentals are good, and if they are really showing the actual profit into the balance sheet, I think that's the right time to the company to come on board. And having said this, looking at the overall trend in the market, I've been watching this platform work for almost 9 years into the Bombay Stock Exchange, SME platform running startup and SME. Today I could really see that almost 1,430 companies have listed in both the exchange, NSE including BSE. So 100 has been, you can say, a run rate for this platform listing. Before last year, I think last year we could really see 2026 March, we have seen a listing of more than 260 companies getting listed on both the exchange. So the numbers have increased and the valuation, what is availing into the market has been very exorbitant. The multiple which has been given by the intermediaries has been upward of 15 to 18 multiple. That I could really see more than 50 companies where the approvals have been done by the exchanges still struggling to launch their IPOs. This is not going to sustain like that. So earlier when we started this exchange, almost 8 to 10 multiple has been the P multiple where the people used to buy when they were not being very pricey. Looking at the global trend and the war situation coming in, most of the IPOs have been standard down, and the companies who have been coming out with the market, almost 60 to 70% of the companies which has come into the market out of 260 companies are down. 60-70% of the companies, it's not listing price se kam hai aaj ke tarikh mein. So that's, I feel it's a caution for the people. The people are become very pricey now. So the people want at a cheaper valuation. When you are getting TCS at 18p multiple, possibly launching your company at this level at 12-14 level doesn't make sense because people want a little cheaper and they are very cautious about the valuation part. I think the valuation can evolve over the period of time. As an SME, they should list the company, let the company evolve, let them do the compliance part, show the actual profit into the balance sheet, get the transparency done and more corporate governance bring in. I think people, larger people into institutional buyers are trying to put more money and a lot of coverage is being done now. It has improved in last 3 years of the time. That's one of the reasons the number have gone from 150, both the exchange put together. We're talking about 260 companies getting listed in 2026 March. So I think this is going to grow more faster in coming years. I feel there is no right time. Every day is a good time for us and they can list the company. So I feel last 14 years we have seen hardly 1,400 companies. Individually in my career of 8.5 years in BS, I would have met 8,000 people. The conversion is minuscule. I think earlier statement and the earlier panel also spoke about the close net family. Even Dilip spoke about that thing. That is a major hurdle I could really see that. And now because of the market has going up from 36 level of Sensex to 86 and 12,000 level to 24, 26 level of, you're talking about Nifty, the people have become more greed. So I feel if they are not having more of a greed and come out with the honesty, I think the valuation should be at the P multiple of 10 to 12, not more than other companies which are having a turnover of 50 to 100 or 150 to 200 crores. That's a benchmark I feel.
So while we talked about the floor on the valuation, let's talk about the cap also. There is no cap. Now we have seen SME coming up with the IPO issue size of more than 250 also. And every client that I have seen into my investment banking journey always compare themselves, not just based on apple to apple comparison, but they are always like, oh, because of course it's their baby. They are being too touched when we talk about a valuation of their own company. What advice you want to give to the SME people that how to use this SME exchange and this process to like an enhancement vehicle and not to think about a money crunching vehicle?
See, whenever I met people, even today I've met more than 350 people in last 1 year of the time. I've done almost, this is the 13th even I am a speaker over here. I've been telling people on and off every time when I meet them also, I tell them be honest first of all. Secondary thing is that at least get a fair valuation, not the higher valuation. Let us put something on the table to the investors to at least get some gains. Otherwise you will not be making gains over here. Take a classic example of a super avenue mark, Radhakrishna Damani. So he bought the company at maybe 7,000 crores of fundraising at that time of 300 rupees. On the first day itself, 2,300 crores. So if you could really see that the first day itself, the investors appraised to almost 600 rupees price on the first day gain itself. And I could really see a simple example of a company I've listed recently in Fly SBS on National Stock Exchange on August 2025. The parent company, I got them listed on 2024 AFCOM holding in BSE only. So when they got listed, 243 crores was the valuation and they came out with a price of 108 on August 2024. Today is hovering around about 962 rupees and the valuation from 240, it is more than 2,600 crores. So when they learned the valuation game and they started showing the profitability, now they have listed the company in August 8th, precisely on somewhere 2025. After exactly 1 year, they listed on NSE. They listed at a valuation of somewhere about the similar level and price of the stock was 225 that time and the first day the gain was 90%. So today also I could really see the price has not come down and the company is selling off very good and they could really mature as a company.
The sustenance is important.
Sustenance is very important,
yes.
and they learned what is unlocking your value. Today, let me put an example to all the entrepreneurs today we are having into the audience, is that today they are playing a gully cricket. So nobody has got into an Indian cricket team from a gully cricket. So this platform, it's a beautiful platform where you're going to play into a format which has been recognized by BCCI. If you want to play this 3 years, early it was 2 years before to Jan 2024, this 3 years you're going to play like a Ranji Trophy, the other trophy or a IPL. That format is recognized by BCCI to take a player from the format and take it into the Indian team. The similar way, the investor fraternity understand the listed format. That is you can invest because they are going to see that more transparency, the actual profit is coming into. This platform is going to be useful for them to showcase their company performance, create the trust. Very important is that if you create trust and into the capital market, only thing trades into that capital market is trust only. That is going to come from your balance sheet. So I think win-win situation for the investors and the people who are going to invest time to invest into a company. The fundamentals of the company is very important rather than anything else.
As rightly said, that IPO listing is not a one event driven transaction. It's a sustenance game. The right value and the right unlock can only be given once you reach to that stage with the right audience of the investor, and that is the public eventually.
It's actually, I can tell you in one word, it's like a branding activity.
Correct.
So people come here to raise the fund. I tell them you can manufacture money, but you have to keep performing consistently. Tell me into the audience also, if I can throw a question to the audience. So आज के तारीख में आप बताइए कि सबसे ज़्यादा ट्रस्टेड ब्रांड करके इंडिया का एक ट्रस्टेड ब्रांड कौन सा आपके माइंड में आता है? See, you have 5,000 companies on the main board, 717 on the SME of BSE, and the similar number on NSE also on SME board, and more than 2,200. So when we are talking about the company, even the people who are sitting on the audience who have been running their business, not taking their own company, who have been running for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, that kind of a trust is created by Tata only because of the balance sheet, the kind of performance that they have industrialized overall. So even the people who would have earned their own money by investing into the other stocks, into the larger companies and banks, so many, but still they took the same. So I would have asked a similar question to the audience of more than 500 events which would have conducted when I was a regulator. See, everybody used to talk about Tata. So we don't have any other brand in India, only Tata. We have so many brands created, Mahindra, you talk about Aditya Birla, you talk about even Infosys, you talk about LIC as a brand. You can talk so many brands of the Infosys, so, but people talk about Tata. So if you are an entrepreneur looking for long-term, possibly you have to invest on your company's business model. Second thing is you are going to be a fundamentals on the documentation part. I think if you start working on that, money is going to be a byproduct. If you are listed, you are branded, everybody globally is going to watch you. Money becomes a secondary part you can start getting. I've seen people getting so much of funds after listed only. They are not visible. Let me quote an example. If you have a time, I've listed a company called Synergy Green Kolhapur. I got them listed at a valuation of 106. Today they are earning about 100,000 crores almost. The price would have gone to 600 from 106 rupees, 70 rupees. So if you see that company, when they got listed in 2018 September, they got a FI funding. MIT got invested into the company. Now I could really see Afcom Holding, which I got listed from Chennai. Deepak Parasanam is the promoter of the company. Now the first company to get QIP. Qualified institutional placement happened into any SME out of 1,400 company came from Afcom Holding, which I got listed in BSE SME platform. They got 200 crores of funding in QIP recently, almost a week's back. So that's the potential of this platform. So you can't be underestimating any SME company in India, but you have to unearth company into the portfolio. You have to meet the promoter. I would have met the promoter more than 8 times to convince him to launch. Today he has launched the second company in NSE. So now he understood the wealth creation part. Before they are listed, they are working on the taxation part. They are not paying the tax, they are doing something different. So they are trying to suppress the balance sheet over there. If you are investing time, list the company, show the actual profit into this, unlock the value of your organization. That's the best part you can do.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. So while combining both the sessions, we have a fair amount of idea from the perspectives of the capital lenders to the receivers to the regulators. Now I want to understand from Mr. Riddesh, coming in from the exchange side, sir, BSE being called the banyan tree as a backbone, the spine of the capital market. What do you think how SMEs have performed over time if we compare to the past trends of large companies when they come to the main board IPO? How equivalent you give the main board and the SMEs in today's scenario when SME is as equivalent as a main board IPO when we talk about the regulations, the regulatory perspectives, the stringencies and everything?
See, let's understand this. When we talk of main board companies and SMEs, they both have their own set of regulations, right? So when we specifically talk about SMEs, what are the eligibility criteria? The first thing is the profitability, that's the operating profit or the EBITDA as we say it. It has to be 1 crore in past 2 out of 3 years. That's one. Second is the net tangible assets has to be 3 crores and the net worth has to be 2 crores in the past 2 years. Net tangible assets has to be 3 crores in the past, last financial year. Whereas when it comes to the main board, it is not that, it's not that, right? There's hard underwriting in SME IPO. That means before you open an IPO, the merchant banker, he has to underwrite at least 15% and he has to arrange for other underwriter. In main board IPOs, you don't have hard underwriting, you have soft underwriting. So that's another major difference. In SME IPO, the application is the investment is from more informed investor because they have to invest for at least 2 lots, which is over 2 lakh rupees, at least 2 lakh rupees. In main board IPO, the minimum investment is 15,000 rupees. So now these are the major differences. Now let's look at the journey. See, India is not averse to SMEs, or India is not, this is not the first time in the past 10 years, maybe BSE SME or the SME platform, specifically the SME platform, could be a new baby on the block with just 10, 12 years of experience. But all the listed companies, whether you call Infosys or you call Dr. Reddy's or whosoever it is, they all were at some point in time SMEs. When they raise funds, you know, even when Dr. Reddy's, if you look at history, what was a fund raised by Dr. Reddy's? It was minuscule. Even today, the kind of fundraise that the SMEs do is much more than what they had raised in the first instance. Let's look at the journey from the last 10 years. So, you know, the number of SMEs. For BSE, it took almost around 40 months to get the first 100 listings. And the fundraise was around 740 crores. So that means an average of 7.4 crores. In last financial year, that is FY26, we had 146 listings. So almost 150 listings. And that too, the fundraise was around over 6,300 crores. So what I'm trying to say is that look at the maturity of the SMEs. From around 7 crores average issue size to 10, 11 crores average issue size, so now we have taken them to around 40, 45 crores average issue size. There are so many SMEs who are coming in raising 150, 200 crore IPO. They aspire to raise. Now, why would they come on a SME platform? See, understand this, a promoter, an entrepreneur, when SME entrepreneur, he doesn't have a lot of resources at his disposal. So what happens is he dons many hats. He has to do compliance, he has to do marketing, he has to do production. Everything is under his control. Whereas when we look at larger organizations, a main board company, they have different teams to take care of it. So what happens is compliance becomes a challenge once they get listed. A main board company, they have specific teams. Compliance is easier for SME. It becomes difficult if they get listed on the main board. But when they are listed on the SME platform, the compliances are quite relaxed. So that helps them to comply. For 3 years, you be on the SME platform, you perform. There are certain growth pathways that we have provided to the companies. Achieve those, because what we want the promoters to do is do business transparently and focus on your business. We have given you what all compliances you need to do. You do those compliances and then you can migrate onto the main board. Once you migrate to the main board, there'll be, you know, then the whole investment community is open to you. Then, you know, it's a more larger level playing field for you. So that's where we come in. We tell companies that you don't, whatever you know, mindset that you have. So a lot of time we come across entrepreneurs saying that, why should we get listed? Oh, I will give away my company. So there's a lot of fear in their mind. The major concern is that there's very little awareness. So we try to tell them that, see, if you get listed, what are the benefits and what are the you know, cons, as we say, pros and cons. So as what Anand rightly said, there is, if you get listed, you get you get brand recognition. Internationally or domestically, businesses start noticing you that yes, there's this company, which is doing business. And the beauty of Indian SMEs is they do have good profit margin because the overheads are less. So with less funds, they can manage, and these are the companies that will grow multifold because they are starting at a lower base. So when a mainboard company comes, the base is already higher. For them to grow, it's a bit tough ask when compared to Indian SMEs. Also, Indian SMEs are the ones who raise funds for growth. If we look at the recent trend, for mainboard, it is more of OFS. So that's where Indian SMEs are more critical and more important for private investments in this company, capex creation in this country.
So while we are on the investor side, this regular fluctuations in the ticket lot sizes, the changes between the main board and the SME listing or the participations of the lots, what do you think will be now a paradigm shift of the serious investors if we compare the main board and the SME sectors?
See, as I said, in main board you have the investors who are well defined. There is a retail investor, but in SME you don't have a retail investor. You have an individual investor. In SME you have informed investor because people who are investing money in a SME, they need to understand where they are putting their money. One more thing. SMEs, you don't trade in single unit. You trade in lots. So that's why, so when you are trading in lots, you need to understand where your investment, how much you're investing, where you're investing, and for what purpose you're investing. It's not that these are not companies who are just going to create value for you on day one. Maybe a main board company could do that because there's already an investor who has invested in that company and there's a legacy of investment for 5 years. And now the company is growing. He has ensured that the company, the systems are in place, everything, the reporting structure is in place, everything is well set. But in the case of an SME, investor needs to understand that the company who is getting listed, they didn't have this investor or investment legacy. So they will be sharing the financials, they will be giving the communication, they will be talking to the investors, and once the money goes in, they will also take time to deploy the funds in the stated objectives. So this is a major difference that we see when investors, they look at from a main board company and a SME company. They need to have, it has to be more, they need to have more patience. It has to be patient capital.
So we can rightly say that SME is now seeing the senior investors' traction into the industry, and the BSE is the reflection in the market positioning of such investors.
So we always tell investors that don't go by the size. We always tell them go by the business model. If the business model, and because we have such beautiful businesses, such beautiful business models in our country, that if you stay with them, they will always give you good value.
Thank you so much, panel members, for the insightful session.